the criticism is that, well, you can't promote the success sequence without inadvertently shaming single mothers, kids who come from single parent households. And so by promoting this framework, you're sort of implicitly telling these young kids or these families, well, you did it wrong. And so we're going to tell you how to do it better. And then the second one is folks who maybe miss a step or don't do the steps in order. Maybe they haven't followed the success sequence in their own lives. The critics say, well, you're implying that, well, sorry, you're toast. You can't live a life outside of poverty. What's your response to those two criticisms?
Well, to the first one, I think it is possible to celebrate people who have overcome challenges in their life, including having children outside of marriage or losing employment or facing, barriers to employment. And they find ways to get through those challenges. But that doesn't mean that it hasn't been a challenge. And I think that is okay to acknowledge. And you have a lot of people who have faced those challenges that would make the same argument that, yes, I was successful, but it was a challenge. I don't want every child in this country to have to face those same challenges. So I think that part of the answer to the first criticism is that it's just recognizing the challenges associated with just living people's lives, but also acknowledging that we want to set people up so they can make the best choices for themselves and their families. To the second point, kind of about the sequencing of things, the paper that I just conducted that you referenced, I actually started with looking at unmarried mothers. So these were women who had already not achieved the success sequence, if we're thinking of it in terms of a sequence, because they had a child outside of marriage. And what I found is that among those who later in their life were able to have at least a high school education, work full time, and get married, again, after having a child outside of marriage, the likelihood that they were in poverty was also dramatically reduced. It was 7 times below what it was for those mothers, unmarried mothers at birth, who achieved none of those things. So I think, again, it goes back to kind of the value-based argument of the success sequence, being that these 3 things are things that I think we all value. And we can recognize that even if it's not possible, if people have faced challenges where they're not able to do one of them in a particular order, still striving to achieve all 3 will certainly set people up for success more than if we send the message that these 3 life milestones are unimportant.